You think marriage means you suddenly gain one more family, one more pair of arms to lean on, a warm circle where someone finally chooses you first and you finally belong. They never say anything about the families that smile while they open their arms to hug you, only to wrap those same arms around your neck and squeeze until you can't breathe. In Willow Creek, Georgia, Gloria Whitaker woke at 5 every morning like clockwork. She flicked the porch light on with one sharp click, scraped yesterday's coffee grounds into the trash with 3 quick scrapes of the spoon, measured fresh beans with the same silver spoon she had used since Marcus was a baby, clicked the stove burner to high until the flame whooshed, filled the kettle until it screamed, then marched down the hall and banged on his door 3 times. "Marcus, get up right now." She had carried him 9 months and never put him down once. She destroyed every girl who tried to get close to her son in the most humiliating way possible. One small, vicious cut after another. When Marcus was 3, she crossed the yard in 3 fast steps, snatched the neighbor kid's toy truck out of his hands, slapped the boy's wrist hard enough to make him cry, then walked back, gripping Marcus's small hand tight, while the child wailed behind them. When he was 10, she sat outside his classroom every single afternoon, knitting with sharp clicks of the needles, ready to march in the second the teacher raised her voice even half a tone. When he was 17, Chelsea slipped him a folded note after youth group. Gloria found it under his pillow that night, read it once, burned it in the kitchen sink while she stirred Sunday stew with her other hand, then drove straight to Chelsea's house. She stood at the front door and screamed loud enough for the whole street to hear, "Your daughter is a cheap little slut chasing after my son. Tell her, stay away from my boy." Chelsea never looked Marcus in the eye again. 3 more women came after that and left in pieces. Ava lasted 4 months. Gloria openly screamed at her right in front of Marcus at the dinner table one night while Ava was still chewing. "You should stand up to greet me, right? You think you're too good to hug your future mother-in-law? You're nothing but a cheap, classless bitch." She snatched Ava's plate, dumped the food in the trash with a loud clatter, remade the entire meal while laughing. "Even a dog wouldn't eat the slop you cooked. My son deserves better than a useless slut like you, who can't even make a decent plate." Ava sat there, with tears running down her face, while Gloria forced Marcus to eat the new version. The next morning, Gloria accidentally spilled coffee on Ava's favorite dress, then smirked and said, "Looks like you're too clumsy for this family anyway." 2 days later, Gloria waited until Ava was in the shower, then threw all her makeup into the trash and told Marcus, "She looks like a painted whore anyway." Ava packed her bags that same night and never came back. Brooke lasted 6 months. Gloria mocked her education in front of the whole family every Sunday dinner. She would point at Brooke with her fork and sneer, "All that fancy schooling, and you still don't know how to shut your mouth and respect your elders? You're just an arrogant, overeducated bitch who thinks she's smarter than me. My son needs a real woman, not a loud-mouthed whore who talks back every 5 seconds." While Brooke was at work, Gloria moved all her books off the coffee table and replaced them with Marcus's old trophies, then whispered loudly to Marcus, "Get rid of that trash before she ruins you with her big mouth." One evening, Gloria waited until Brooke was setting the table, then deliberately knocked the plates out of her hands and screamed, "See? Even simple things you can't do right, you useless whore." Brooke finally broke down in the driveway, crying so hard she could barely drive away. The next week, Gloria went through Brooke's suitcase while she was at school and threw away her diplomas, telling Marcus, "She thinks those pieces of paper make her better than me? Burn them." Nicole lasted 3 months. Gloria called her plain as a plank of wood and useless as a broken chair every single day. One evening, Gloria stood in the kitchen while Nicole was cooking and shouted loud enough for the neighbors to hear through the open window, "You're so boring and ugly. No wonder you're trying to trap my son. You're not even fit to wipe the floor in this house, you pathetic plain-faced bitch." She grabbed the spoon from Nicole's hand, tasted the food, spit it into the sink, and remade the whole dish while laughing, "My son deserves better than this garbage from a worthless nobody like you." Nicole left a note on the kitchen table the next morning. "I can't compete with your mother's hate." Marcus read it, folded it, and said nothing. Marcus turned 35 and was still sleeping in the same childhood room. Trophies dusty on the shelf above his bed. One Sunday, Hannah Nolan sat in the third row at Grace Harbor Church. Navy dress, small Bible in her lap. She did not smile or look around for attention. Marcus noticed her the way a man notices air after holding his breath too long. After service, Mrs. Pauline grabbed his arm and pushed them together on the church steps. They talked 10 minutes. 2 months later, Hannah asked him straight while they walked after dark, shoes crunching on gravel, "Why are you still single at 35? Marcus told her the truth about his mother. 2 months later, Hannah asked him straight while they walked after dark, shoes crunching on gravel, "Why are you still single at 35? Marcus told her the truth about his mother. Hannah looked at him a long time and said, "I like you, Marcus. I like you a lot. So I'm going to give you one chance. I'm going to give us a real chance. But listen to me clearly." Her voice softened, yet there was steel underneath. "I will not compete for the place of your wife. Not ever. And I will not let anyone bully me or push me around the way they did to the women before me. If you can't stand up for me when it matters, then we stop right here." Marcus's heart jumped. A wide, relieved grin broke across his face. For the first time in years, he felt truly seen and truly hopeful. "I won't let that happen," he said quickly, voice full of excitement. "I promise I'll choose you. I'll show you every single day." Hannah's smile grew wider, playful again. She took his hand, lacing their fingers together. "Good. Then prove it." She gave his hand a gentle squeeze. "This Friday night, you're taking me out. Just the two of us. Dinner, maybe a walk by the river after. No mothers, no sisters, only you and me. Deal?" Marcus laughed, the sound light and happy. "Deal. I'll pick you up at 7. Hannah leaned in, brushed a quick, teasing kiss against his cheek, then pulled back with a wink. "I'm looking forward to it, Marcus." After that night, everything happened fast. The wedding was small, Tuesday afternoon in November. White canopy in the church courtyard, folding chairs, soft music from a single speaker. Gloria sat front row in her best suit, lips pressed so tight they looked stitched shut. When the pastor asked if anyone objected, the whole room held its breath for 3 full seconds. Gloria said nothing. Marcus and Hannah said, "I do." For 14 days, the little house on Maple Lane felt like theirs. Hannah woke at 6 every morning, padded barefoot across the cool wooden floor to the kitchen, filled the kettle with fresh water, clicked the stove on, cracked 2 eggs into the skillet, stirred them slow with her mother's old blue teacup handle, flipped the toast until it turned golden, and hummed softly while the coffee dripped. Marcus came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist, kissed the back of her neck, poured his own coffee, and sat at the table without checking his phone. They argued about nothing important: fan speed, which side of the bed got the extra blanket, whether the living room lamp was too dim, and ended up laughing in each other's arms. Hannah started to breathe easy for the first time in years. She planted a small jasmine vine by the back steps one afternoon, knelt in the dirt, watered it carefully, pressed the soil around its roots, and smiled when Marcus came out and helped her tie the first thin stem to a stick. Every evening they sat on the porch, her head on his shoulder, watching the sun go down while the jasmine leaves rustled softly in the breeze. They cooked together, laughed together, made love quietly at night, and for those 14 days, Hannah believed she had finally found a home. On the 15th morning, a car door slammed hard outside. Footsteps crossed the porch fast. Gloria's voice blasted through the house before the screen door even opened. "We're here. Somebody come help with these bags right now, you lazy bitch." Hannah stepped out of the kitchen, hands still dripping from washing vegetables. Gloria walked straight past her, like she owned the floor. Kelsey followed, arms folded, eyes already scanning every cabinet and drawer. A driver unloaded 5 big suitcases and a cooler onto the porch. Gloria dropped her purse on the kitchen table with a loud thump. "This is my son's house. I came to teach you how to be a real wife. you worthless city whore. You clearly don't know shit yet." That was the first cut. The cuts never stopped after that. Every single morning from then on, Hannah woke at 6. She filled the kettle. She cracked 2 eggs. She stirred them with the blue teacup handle. Gloria marched in, snatched the skillet out of her hand, dumped the eggs into the trash with one quick flip, remade them her way saltier, thicker, and slammed the plate down while screaming, "This is pig slop. Do you want to poison my son, you stupid bitch? Even a street whore can cook better than you." Hannah cleared the cold plate alone while Gloria watched from the doorway and laughed. Marcus sat down, ate both plates without a word, and left for work. Hannah got on her knees and mopped the kitchen floor until the tiles shone. Gloria deliberately dragged a dining chair across the wet floor, left black streaks, and pointed at one tiny speck in the corner. "Do it again, you useless piece of trash. Properly this time. What kind of lazy whore did my son marry?" Hannah mopped the whole floor a second time, then a third time when Gloria found another speck. The jasmine vine she had planted by the back steps, the one small green thing that was only hers and Marcus's, started to droop. Gloria helped by trimming 3 healthy shoots with kitchen scissors and pouring yesterday's greasy dishwater straight onto the roots to save on the hose bill. Hannah found the vine later that evening, leaves wet and dying, and watered it again in the dark with a cup she hid under the sink. Hannah set the dinner table every night. Kelsey walked by, moved every fork 1 inch to the left, then laughed loud. "Looks cheap. Like something from a college apartment, you pathetic bitch." Hannah rearranged the forks again. Gloria tasted Hannah's soup, made a face, poured the whole pot down the sink while the spoon clattered, then cooked her own version right in front of everyone. "Now it's edible." "You're welcome, you useless. Did your mother teach you nothing? You can't even make soup right, you worthless city trash." Hannah reheated the new soup and ate it in silence. Kelsey smirked from the doorway. "City girls can't even make soup right. Pathetic." Gloria started going through the closets every afternoon. Hannah came home from the grocery store one evening, arms loaded with heavy bags, keys still in her teeth, and found all her clothes folded the wrong way. Her mother's rolling pin moved to the highest shelf, where she had to climb a chair to reach it. Gloria stood in the doorway, arms crossed, smiling coldly. "Those old rags made you look like a cheap prostitute. I fixed them for you, you ugly bitch." Hannah climbed the chair, hands shaking, put every item back exactly where it belonged, and climbed down without a word. The blue teacup got its first chip the day Gloria accidentally elbowed it while reaching for sugar. Second chip when Kelsey bumped it hard, reaching for the remote. Third chip when Gloria knocked it off the counter while reorganizing the spice rack for the 6th time that month. Hannah still drank her morning coffee from it every single day, lips pressed carefully against the jagged edge. By the end of week 3, Hannah moved like someone walking underwater. She woke burning with fever, throat raw, body heavy, legs weak. She lay in bed and asked Kelsey through the open door, voice thin, "Can you hand me a glass of water and my medicine from the kitchen shelf?" Kelsey stood in the doorway, arms folded. "You want me to fetch it for you? Get up and get it yourself. I'm not your maid, you worthless whore." Hannah dragged herself out of bed, one hand on the wall, the other clutching her stomach. She shuffled to the kitchen, poured her own water with shaking hands, swallowed the pills dry because the glass slipped and shattered across the tile. Gloria walked in at that exact moment, saw the broken glass, and sighed loud enough for the neighbors. "Look what you've done now, you pathetic. Pretending to be sick so you can avoid work? Marcus works so hard all day and you're breaking his things on purpose, you useless burden." Marcus walked through the door 20 minutes later, still wearing his work shirt, keys still in hand. The moment he stepped inside, the scene hit him like a punch to the chest. Hannah was on her knees in the middle of the kitchen, pale as paper, sweat running down her face, her hands trembling as she slowly swept the broken glass into a dustpan. Gloria sat at the kitchen table, arms crossed, lecturing loudly about how a proper wife should never make such a mess. Kelsey lounged on the couch, casually scrolling her phone, as if nothing had happened. In that instant, Marcus remembered the promise he had made to Hannah under the moonlight 2 months ago, the words he had whispered to her the night they got engaged. I will protect you. I will choose you every single day. No one will ever treat you the way they treated the others. I swear it. He looked straight into Hannah's eyes. Those eyes, feverish, exhausted, filled with quiet pain and silent disappointment, met his. That look broke something deep inside him. Hannah! He cried out in panic and rushed forward. He dropped his keys and bag on the floor, quickly took the broom from her shaking hands, and wrapped one arm around her waist to support her. Baby, what happened? Let me help you up. Only when his hand touched her skin did he realize how burning hot she was. Her forehead was on fire. His heart dropped. You're burning up. You're really sick. Why are you even out of bed? He quickly, frantically helped her to her feet, then guided her to the nearest chair, one hand gently holding her arm, the other brushing the damp hair away from her sweaty forehead. Sit down right now. I'm so sorry. I should have been here sooner. Gloria shot up from her seat, eyes wide with fury. Marcus, what do you think you're doing? Running to her like that, after everything I've sacrificed for you? You're choosing this girl over your own family now? Marcus's voice rose as he turned to his mother, still holding Hannah's hand. She is my family. She is my wife. Look at her, she's burning with fever. And you two are still treating her like this? The argument exploded between mother and son. Gloria's voice grew sharper. She's pretending to be sick so she doesn't have to do her duties as a wife. She broke the glass and now she wants sympathy. That was when the truth finally came out. Marcus turned to Kelsey, who was still sitting on the couch pretending not to care. Kelsey, did Hannah ask you for water and medicine? Kelsey rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. Yes, she did. But I told her to get it herself. I'm not her servant. She's the one who married into this family. Why should I have to take care of her? Marcus's face hardened. She was lying sick in bed and asked you for help, and you refused? You left her to drag herself out here and break a glass because she was too weak? Kelsey lifted her chin defiantly. I didn't do anything wrong. She needs to learn her place. She's too weak for this family anyway. I was just teaching her. That was the final straw. Marcus, trembling with rage, stepped forward and slapped Kelsey hard across the face. The sharp sound echoed through the house. Gloria screamed, her voice filled with shock and fury. Marcus, how dare you raise your hand against your own sister? For her? You've lost your mind. Marcus stood there, chest heaving, his hand still trembling from the slap. For the first time in 35 years, the words he had swallowed down came rushing out like a flood he could no longer hold back. Lost my mind? He shouted back, his voice raw and shaking. Mom, I've been losing myself for years because of you. I've stayed quiet for so long. I watched you destroy Ava. You humiliated her at the dinner table, spilled coffee on her favorite dress, and made her feel like she was never good enough. I watched you break Brooke until she cried in the driveway, moving her things behind her back and telling me she was too arrogant. I watched you crush Nicole day after day until she left that note and disappeared. Every single time, I told myself you were only protecting me. But the truth is, you were controlling me. You were controlling all of us. He took a shaky breath, eyes burning as he looked straight at his mother. I'm 35 years old, Mom. 35. And I've never had a real life because I was too afraid to stand up to you. I let you rearrange their things, insult their cooking, make them feel small and worthless in my own home. I stood there like a coward and said nothing while you destroyed every chance I had at happiness. I told myself it was love, but it wasn't love, it was chains. His voice cracked, but he kept going, turning to look at Hannah, who was pale and swaying on her feet. And then Hannah came. She made me promise I would protect her. She looked me in the eye and said she wouldn't compete for the place of my wife. I swore to her I would choose her every single day. I swore no one would ever treat her the way they treated the others. And today, I see how badly I've failed her." He pointed at Hannah, his hand shaking. "Look at her. She's burning with fever. She's so sick she can barely stand, and you two still treated her like this. My own sister refused to give my sick wife a glass of water. How can you not see how wrong that is? How cruel that is?" Marcus's eyes filled with tears, but his voice grew stronger. "I love you, Mom. I really do. But I can't keep living like this anymore. I can't keep choosing your feelings over my wife's dignity. From this moment on, things are going to change in this house. If you can't respect Hannah as my wife, if you can't treat her with kindness and let her be the woman of this home, then you will have to leave. Both of you." The room fell into stunned silence. Gloria's mouth opened, but no words came out. Kelsey stared at her brother, hand still pressed to her cheek, eyes wide with disbelief. Hannah looked up at Marcus, her feverish gaze soft with quiet surprise and relief. For the first time in his life, Marcus had finally spoken the truth he had carried for decades. That night, Marcus stood in the living room and told them straight, voice low but firm, "Pack your bags. You leave in the morning." Gloria packed slowly, folding every shirt like she was performing pain for an audience. Kelsey cried loud enough for the whole street to hear. The jasmine vine outside had exactly 2 green leaves left. Karma came wearing Gloria's own face. Kelsey married Trevor Caldwell 3 months later. Trevor's mother Lorraine did to Kelsey exactly what Gloria had done to Hannah, only worse. Every morning Kelsey woke, filled the kettle, cracked eggs, stirred them her way. Lorraine marched in, snatched the skillet, dumped everything in the trash, remade it stronger, and slammed the plate down. "My son doesn't eat this garbage, you useless bitch." Kelsey cleared the cold plate alone. Lorraine rearranged Kelsey's closet, criticized every meal in front of the whole family, moved Kelsey's things while she was at work, and accidentally chipped the 1 teacup Kelsey had brought from home. Trevor shrugged every single time and said, "She means well, just be patient." One night, Kelsey sat on the edge of the bathtub, crying without making a sound, and whispered into the dark, "This is exactly what I did to Hannah." She came home broken. 1 suitcase, eyes swollen shut from crying. Gloria met her at the door, ready to call Trevor's family and start a war. Kelsey stopped her cold. "Mom, Trevor's mother treated me exactly the way we treated Hannah, every single day." Gloria's mouth opened, then closed. For the first time in her life, she had nothing to say. Weeks later, Gloria showed up at Marcus and Hannah's house. She called first. She carried a pot of beef stew and handed it to Hannah with both hands. "Marcus's favorite. Serve it tonight if you want." No apology in words, just the pot. Hannah took it. The jasmine vine outside had 3 new green shoots pushing through the dirt. The blue teacup still sat on the counter, 4 chips showing. Gloria sat at the kitchen table and watched Hannah wash dishes. After a long silence, Gloria said, "I was not kind to you." Hannah turned off the faucet and turned around. Gloria looked down at her own hands. "I was scared of losing him. I took that fear out on you. That was wrong." Hannah dried her hands slowly. "I know you love him. Love without wisdom hurts people." Gloria reached across the table and took Hannah's hand. The grip was old and trembling, but it was real. Marcus stood in the doorway, watching the 2 women. Outside, rain started falling soft and steady, washing the dust off the jasmine leaves. For the first time, the house did not feel like a cage. It felt like something they had finally chosen to keep. Some houses are built with wood and brick. Others are rebuilt with truth set straight in the kitchen, with a chipped teacup that refuses to break completely, and with a small vine that survives even after every leaf has been stripped away. The Whitaker house had been both. And now, after everything, it was finally starting to breathe.